But yeah, so it was synonymous with my childhood. Really, I used to love Doctor Who. I used to be, scared beyond everything when it came to the Cybermen. They used to freak me out. I used to be very scared of those. I used to have nightmares about them. The Daleks, naturally, very scared of them. But it was, like I said, it was synonymous with my early childhood. And I think, in fact, actually, I've managed to meet all of the Doctor Who's that I have, that I saw in the series, which was
Have you worked with them? Obviously, Peter.
No, I've worked with Peter, obviously, and but no, I haven't worked with. An ex-girlfriend of mine was doing a panto with Colin Baker. That's how I managed to meet him, and then Sylvester McCoy came to see a show I was doing, so I naturally grabbed the opportunity to say hello to him afterwards.
Has anyone else worked with any of the past Doctors?
Only just passed. Quite a few years ago, I worked with a young actor called David Tennant and did a play with him. And it was probably, if I can work this out, it was 1996, I think, or 95, 96. And quite often when you're down, we were down in Stratford, working with the Royal Shakespeare Company. Quite often you're looking for things to do after the show. The Dirty Duck stays open till a certain time, and then people are usually still awake. And I can remember David Tennant actually saying, "Does anybody want to come and watch some Doctor Who episodes?" I thought it was the most bizarre thing I'd ever heard, because I don't think it had been on. It was during that period you were talking about, where there hadn't been a Doctor Who for years. What an extraordinary thing to want to go and do. And he said, "Oh, no. He told us how he'd got all the episodes of Doctor Who that had ever been made. He was a Doctor Who geek." So it was, when I found out that he was actually going to be playing him, I was over the moon for him.
Yeah.
It was meant to be, clearly.
You're, of course, talking to a room of people who own every video and DVD. and CD and book, and myself included.
Uh-huh.
So actually, do you have a behind-the-sofa moment from watching Doctor Who when you were
I did. I watched it all through my childhood and into my teens, and it was giving away my age. Patrick Troughton was my first Doctor Who, and I absolutely adored him. And I think the first Doctor Who is probably the one you feel the most fond of. And I remember Yetis. So presumably you all remember, you've got footage of Yetis.
Yeah.
I haven't seen a Yeti for a very long time, but they were the thing I was the most scared of. They looked like those things in car washes, didn't they? That's my memory of them, anyway.
And their roar was a slow-down toilet flushing.
Was it?
Yeah, there we go. That's destroyed that childhood fear, hasn't it?
The fear's gone.
Okay, coming up to date with the end of time, how did you all come to be cast in the show? Did you have to audition, or was it just calls to your agents? Sylvia, would you like to?
Yes, I certainly auditioned for it. As I say, I had these enormous nails, and I was ringing the bell trying to get into the audition room. Couldn't press it, and had to stop a stranger passing by and said, "Could you please ring the bell for me? I'm supposed to be at an audition, I can't get in." But I auditioned for it and managed to look as probably the nastiest person they'd seen that day. Sort of person that would keep a lovely young girl in prison and be nasty to her. Anyway.
Which you certainly don't look today. Can I just say that when we were outside, you arrived and introduced yourself, and you said, "Yes, we've met in Cardiff. We did the scene together."
Yes.
You do look very,
Yes.
very, very different
Yes,
from your prison warden.
Yes.
And knowing Russell T Davies, he loves his TV and loves his camp TV. I think it's not just a coincidence that your uniform is practically identical to the uniforms in Prisoner Cell Block H. I think someone there has gone, "Do you know what would be quite a good thing to do?"
Well, a little story from the makeup and hair lady. Every time they finished my hair, the chief one would come by and say, "It's not severe enough," and the poor girl would take it all out and scrape it even down harder. She said, "Russell T Davies has told me I want absolute bitches for this."
So then else, how did you come to get the part?
I went to an audition. I turned up at the Bloomsbury Baptist Church, where they were seeing people. They gave me a piece of paper with the monologue that unfortunately ended up being cut from the episode. So I sat down there and I thought, I've got to try and learn this as quick as possible. Managed to learn this passage. Went upstairs, met the director and the producer. And they gave me a couple of notes, a couple of ideas. I think I did it twice into the camera and then left. And I thought, that's it. I didn't think about it at all after that. And I think my agent rang about a week later, after all the pleasantries you get from your agent, said, do you fancy doing an episode or two of Doctor Who? And I think I told her to, really? Really? I was very shocked, and then naturally agreed straight away. But yeah, my initial reaction was, really? You know, I couldn't believe it. I was very, very excited. Especially, obviously, as it you know, had been an important part of my childhood.
Yeah, I almost wasn't in the episodes actually, for
Did you
several
forget?
different reasons. Yeah, no. I was in Leicester doing As You Like It, playing Rosalind. So I had my hair really, really short. Like, it's short now, it was really, really short. And I had this funny kind of parting going on, because I obviously had to play a boy. So my agent said to me, oh, they'll see you. They want to see you for this. But, and I said, but my hair. I was like, my hair. Because I read the part, I was like, I don't look like this at all. So she's like, just get a hairband or something. So I remember going into Accessorise and getting this like pearl hairband thing. And then getting the train down. And it was straight after press night. So I was like, oh, it's a good thing I don't drink, because I would be just, all the rest of my cast were wasted. And I was like, the only sober one there. So I got the train down and I went to see Andy, and I met him, and we did the scene, and I was still trying to read the script on the train on my iPhone, because we were teching before, so I hadn't had a chance to read it fully. And when I got there, I read it and I thought, oh, that went okay. And I came away, and then a week and a half passed. I remember my agent going, what's going on with this? Have we had any feedback? She said, yes. They really liked you for the part, but they can't find anyone to play your dad. And I was like, oh, okay, so what? Were they going to find someone else? She was like, no, they're going to recast it all. And I was like, no. So, yeah, so they were going to recast both the daughter and the dad.
Oh.
So, yeah, I think they were going to make them like white or something. So in the end, I was like, my mum said, don't worry, I've texted all my prayer group. I said, okay, well, I need all the help I can get. And then literally 2 days later, after that, she was like, no, it's looking good. And then a whole another week after that, they found David Harewood, and when we were on set, he said, it was the strangest thing. They offered it to me, and then I said, oh, I'm not sure about it. Then 2 days afterwards, I just changed my mind, and my mum was like, it was the prayer group. I was like, oh, okay.
This lovely image of the pair go, please get the party Doctor Who. His hand comes down with the contract.
It is interesting when they send you the script to read for your audition. Each page is watermarked with your name
Yes.
and an ID number on it,
Yeah.
and you are literally told you cannot let anyone see this. And even when we were sent the filming script, they didn't have the last 10. I'm sure you all know this, but they didn't have the last 10 pages, so none of us knew exactly what was going to happen.
No, I was going to ask about that actually. Whether
No,
there was
no one had a clue.
Did anyone discover anything they shouldn't have done before time? I think, oh, I can't tell anybody.
No, it was like a really closely guarded secret. They had watermarked it, and they were
Yeah.
like, you can't even read it on the tube.
Didn't have
If
to.
you don't leave it in your bag or anything. So you'd be reading this script, and then you'd be like, oh, I'm really getting into this. And then suddenly the next scene would be something completely different. And then you'd look above, scene 89, omitted. You're like, oh,
Yeah.
okay.
I remember
So-
saying earlier, I was in the hotel room, and someone pushes a little envelope underneath your door, in which is it's the call list for the next day. It tells you what time the car's picking you up, normally about 5:30. You're going to be sat or trying to stay awake in makeup at 6:30, and then you're on set at 7 or 8. And looking down each actor has a number. So obviously David Tennant was number 1, John Sim was number 2, I think I was number 10, my number was. So it's all down here, it tells you what time your car's picking you up and what time you're going to be in makeup. And at the bottom of this list it said, can't remember the number, but it said Timothy Dalton. And I thought, there'll only be one Timothy Dalton. That's James Bond. Didn't have a clue. Turned up on set the next day, and I thought, here I am. I'm 28. I'm stood on the set of Doctor Who. There's David Tennant. There's John Sim. This James Bond? What the hell am I doing here? It was brilliant, yeah. He's got the bluest eyes I think I've ever seen.
Yeah.
He looks at you
Very
and you
charming.
think, oh yeah.
Very, very charming.
He's probably more charming to you than he was to me.